Did Steve Jobs invent the iPhone? No. I'm Mariana Mazzucato. I'm an economist at UCL, and I'm going to tell you the truth. The government built the iPhone. Touchscreen technology? DARPA. The Pentagon's research division? GPS? The American military, developed in the 1,970 seconds. Siri? SRI International, funded by the NSA. The Internet? ARPANET. Department of Defense project. Battery technology? Department of Energy. The microchip? DARPA, again. Liquid crystal display? Again, military research. What did Apple do? They took everything, put it in a beautiful box, sold it, and made billions. But the technology, all from the government, from your taxes, from your money. And here's the funny part. Steve Jobs was against government intervention. He said free markets, he said the government can innovate, but every technology in the iPhone came from government research. Silicon Valley is built on a big lie. Entrepreneurs innovate, government is slow. The truth? The opposite. The riskiest research? The government does it. Long-term investments? The government makes them. What does the private sector do? Takes the results, pockets the profits. Now I'm going to tell you, how did every technology in the iPhone come from the government? And why does Silicon Valley want to hide this truth? I'm Mariana Mazzucato. I'm an Italian-American economist. I'm a professor at University College London. And for 20 years, I've been researching one thing. Where does innovation come from? The answer is very different from what you've been told. The story we're told is this. Entrepreneurs work in their garages. They find brilliant ideas, they take risks, investors give money, the company grows, technology develops, the world changes. And the government just stands in the way. Bureaucratic, slow, inefficient. This story is a lie, completely a lie. The real story is this. The government does the riskiest research, funds it for decades, accepts the failures, eventually finds a successful technology. Then what happens? An entrepreneur comes, takes the technology, makes a product, sells it, gets rich, and says, I did it. I took the risk. I'm a genius. The government? Never mentioned. Now, let's look at the iPhone and see where each technology really came from. Technology 1, touchscreen. Apple's most important innovation, right? No. Touchscreen technology was developed in the 1,960 seconds. Where? CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, government funded. In the 1,970 seconds it came to America, DARPA funded it, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the Pentagon's research division. Why? For military applications. Pilots would control by touching screens. For decades, DARPA gave money. Universities did research. Companies tried small prototypes. Most failed. But DARPA kept going because the government had a long-term vision, the private sector's vision, maximum 5 years, because investors want profit. Now, 2007, Apple introduced the iPhone. It had a touchscreen. Everyone was shocked. Steve Jobs is a genius. But the technology? 40 years of government research. What did Apple do? Took it, made it beautiful, sold it. Technology 2, GPS, global positioning system. The maps on iPhone, Uber, Google Maps, all depend on GPS. Who made GPS? The American military. Started in 1973. Why? The Cold War. To guide missiles, military applications. 20 years, billions of dollars spent. Satellites sent to space, system built, tested. In 1995, open to civilian use. Free. Anyone can use it. What did Apple do? Put GPS in the iPhone. Made a Maps app. Sold it. The government? Never mentioned. Technology 3, the internet. The iPhone doesn't work without the internet. Safari, Chrome. Every app connected to the internet. Who invented the internet? ARPANET, the 1,960 seconds. Advanced Research Projects Agency Network. Pentagon project. Why? The Cold War again. If the Soviets attack, communication shouldn't be cut. A decentralized network was needed. ARPANET connected universities. Researchers shared data. Protocols were developed. TCP, IP. Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web. Where? CERN. Again, government funded. The 1,990 seconds. The internet open to the public. What did the private sector do? Commercialized it. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, all built on the internet. But who made the internet? The government. Tax money. Technology 4, Siri, voice assistant. Hey Siri, very impressive, right? Where did Siri come from? SRI International, Stanford Research Institute, founded in the 1,960 seconds. Who funded it? DARPA. Again, the Pentagon. SRI did artificial intelligence research for decades, voice recognition, natural language processing, machine learning, all with DARPA and NSA funding, the 2000s. Siri became a spin-off, a small startup. 2010, Apple bought Siri for $200 million, then put it in the iPhone, and everyone said Apple is an AI leader. But the technology, 40 years of government research, Apple just came in at the final stage. Technology 5, the microchip, the processor, the iPhone's brain. Where did the microchip come from? The 1,960 seconds. Fairchild Semiconductor, Silicon Valley. But who gave the money? The Pentagon, NASA, the space program, Apollo, missile systems. The first microchips were made for the military. They were very expensive. The private sector couldn't take the risk. But the government bought them in large quantities. This way, companies invested, production increased, cost decreased. The 1,970 seconds, microchips were commercialized, computers, then phones, then everything. But the first market, the government. Technology 6, battery, lithium-ion battery, keeps the iPhone running for days. Where did this battery come from? Department of Energy, the 1,970 seconds, energy crisis. The government funded alternative energy research. Battery technology was one of them. For decades, developed in laboratories. Universities, government funded. The 1,990 seconds. Sony made the first commercial lithium-ion battery. But the technology, government research. The 2000s. Apple put the battery in the iPhone. And everyone said, Apple is a leader in battery technology. A lie. Technology 7, touchscreen display. Liquid crystal display, LCD. The screen that shows colors. Where did LCD come from? The 1,960 seconds. RCA, Radio Corporation of America. But who funded it? The Pentagon. For military screens, jet pilots, tank operators. For decades, development was done. The government bought them, created a market. The 1,980 seconds. LCD was commercialized. Watches, calculators, then computers, then phones. What did Apple do? Retina display. Very beautiful, marketing marvel. But the technology, government research. Now, stop, think. Every technology in the iPhone came from government research. Touchscreen, DARPA. Military, internet, ARPANET, Siri, DARPA and NSA, Pentagon and NASA, Battery Department of Energy, Pentagon, every single technology. What did Apple do? Brought everything together. Made beautiful design, optimized user experience, marketed it, sold it. Is this important? Yes, Apple did this very well. But is this innovation? No. This is integration. Innovation is developing technologies, taking risks, making long-term investments. Who did this? The government. And now the biggest irony, Steve Jobs was against government intervention, against taxes, against regulation. Free market is best, he said. But every technology in the iPhone was made with tax money, with government research, with military projects. Jobs never said this because the story is better, genius entrepreneur working in garage, taking risks, becoming successful, getting rich. Everyone loves this story because it gives hope. You can do it too. But the truth, you can't make an iPhone because to make an iPhone, you need 40 years of government research, billions of dollars in government money. You need the Pentagon, NASA, DARPA, NSA, Department of Energy, and you don't have access to these. Only companies like Apple do because they get government contracts, they lobby, they get tax exemptions, they get subsidies, and then they say the government is bad. So why does this matter? Why should we know this truth? 3 reasons. First, the tax debate. Silicon Valley says taxes are too high. We're innovating. Give us lower taxes. Apple shifted money to Ireland in 2020, didn't pay taxes. Why? Because free market, they say. But Apple couldn't exist without government technology. The iPhone was made with tax money. Apple made billions. Did they pay taxes? Minimal. Is this fair? No. Second, innovation policy. Governments say the private sector innovates. We just regulate. That's why research budgets are being cut. NASA's budget is 1/10 of the 1,960 seconds. DARPA's budget is declining. The result? Innovation is slowing because the private sector doesn't do risky research. They just commercialize technologies the government found. Third, the entrepreneur myth. We're told the entrepreneur is self-made, succeeded alone, took risks, won. The truth? The entrepreneur used a massive government infrastructure, internet, GPS, technologies, all from the government. The entrepreneur was in the right place at the right time and used the opportunities the government created. Is this bad? No. But let's be honest, the entrepreneur didn't do it alone. Society did it. The government did it. Taxpayers did it. And now the question is, if the government takes the risk, develops the technology, gives the money, why doesn't it take the profit? Why does Apple make billions? But the government gets nothing? Some say the government gets taxes. That's enough. But if Apple doesn't pay taxes, then what? I say if the government invests in innovation, then the government should get a share of the returns. How? Equity, patent royalties, profit sharing. Because the government took the risk, made the investment, now it should get the return. Is this socialism? No. This is justice. How does a venture capitalist work? Gives money, takes risk. If the company succeeds, takes equity, takes profit. The government should do the same. Took the risk, made the investment, now should get the return. But the system doesn't work this way. The system works like this. The government takes the risk, the private sector takes the profit. The government loses, the private sector wins. Then the private sector doesn't pay taxes, lobbies, reduces regulation, and tells the government, you're inefficient, we're efficient. Give us more freedom. This is the biggest fraud, and the media supports this story. Because the Steve Jobs story sells genius, vision, risk, success. People love this story. But the real story? The government did research for 40 years. Steve Jobs came at the final stage, marketed it, won. Both are important. But the credit only goes to Jobs. The government, forgotten. And this is the same in every tech company. The search algorithm was developed with NSF grants, National Science Foundation. Government, Amazon, AWS grew with CIA contracts. Government got $465 million in government loans. SpaceX, NASA contracts, billions. Facebook, internet infrastructure, government, every single company. Without the government, Silicon Valley wouldn't exist. But what does Silicon Valley say? The government can't innovate. We do. Don't interfere with us. A lie. Completely a lie. The government made the biggest innovations. Apollo program sent humans to the moon. Internet connected the world. Changed navigation. Started artificial intelligence. All government. And now Silicon Valley uses these technologies, makes billions. And does it thank the government? No. Does it pay taxes? No. It just complains. Too much regulation. Too much tax. The government interferes. The irony is incredible. I want to change this. How? By educating people, by telling the truth. The government innovates better than the private sector, more risky, more long-term, more visionary. And if this truth is known, then policy changes. The government gives more money to research and takes a share of the returns. The private sector becomes more honest, acknowledges government contribution, pays taxes, shares fairly, and society becomes more fair because innovation is society's work, not just the entrepreneurs. And the fruits of this work should go to everyone, not just a handful of rich people. This is my message. The government innovates. The entrepreneur commercializes. Both are important. But credit should go to both. And profit, both should take it. Fair sharing, because innovation is society's work. And the iPhone is the government's work. Steve Jobs just did the final touch. And this truth should not be forgotten.